Jaidu Vrisu Jaidu Sam Pravina
Here is where the creation of bronze sculptures begins. The artists provide us with a plaster model of the sculpture. From this model, an exact negative in silicone rubber will be made. The plaster model is covered by a layer of plasticine on which plaster couches are created. Once this procedure is completed, the couche can be opened. Plasticine is removed. The couche and the model are covered with a protective layer, and everything is finally closed again. Between the model and the couche, where previously there was plasticine, there will be a gap, which is filled with silicone rubber, which is able to capture every detail of the original model. At this point, hot wax is brushed onto the silicone, making sure it seeps into all the spaces. Once the wax has cooled, we are left with a detailed hollow wax duplicate of the original. Let us pretend that my hand is the silicone negative on which the red wax is brushed. The red wax is not very thick, so the couche with the silicone mold are closed once again, and liquid resin is introduced inside to fill the empty space in the couche. Subsequently, the couche are emptied again, and the liquid resin deposits a small layer which, added to the stroke of red wax, will determine the thickness of the metal. A mixture of refractory material is then poured into the empty space, which solidifies and becomes the so-called body of the sculpture. When we finally open everything, we will find a faithful wax copy of the original artwork. This is the body which goes inside the whole sculpture and makes sure that the final bronze sculpture will be empty inside. Here the wax cast is retouched. Small imperfections are caused by the silicone mold. They are retouched and adjusted so that the wax cast is exactly the same as the original model. When the wax has been retouched, wax rods called gates and sprues are attached to the wax model. These allow the molten bronze to flow into the model. Since the mold needs to be baked, a rock-hard shell made of plaster and quartz sand is built around the wax model. At this point, it can be put in a furnace. Baking time is determined by the size of the object and may vary from 8 to 15 days. During baking, the wax melts away and leaves a hollow space which will be filled at a later time by the metal itself. Hence the name of lost wax technique. After baking, the objects are positioned next to each other inside the fusion hole. Earth is pressed between one object and the other to avoid problems during the pouring of the liquid metal. Molten bronze is then poured into the cavity that is left by the lost wax. This is the chiseling phase, in which the product of the fusion is finished. The work is now near the finishing line.
Chiseling, cosa consiste?
During the chiseling, we make sure that the bronze sculpture is exactly the same as the model provided by the artist. One of the last steps is known as patination. Combining heat with chemicals and acids, the bronze reacts to create rich shades of colors according to artistic specifications. An incredible process to create small and monumental artworks.